If you're going to build an app or a SaaS product of some kind, you should expect to spend somewhere between $30K and $70K on the software development and testing. Some people in the softwarepreneur segment are surprised by that. So let's go back to the home analogy that we discussed in a previous video. You wouldn't want to spend anything less than what it actually costs to lay a strong foundation, to have good framing and insulation, or a quality roof to protect your home. Things like that. And software really is the same. Certain parts of your solution cost money. So for example, you need a certain number of hours to create a good front end, actually coding the user interface. If you go too cheap, the quality of the code will suffer and it'll break. You also need a good back end with all the logic, to read and write to and from your database, or to call third-party services. And if you go too cheap on the back end, again, it will break. You also want something called automated test cases, which is where the developers write scripts to automatically test all the little parts of your application so that every time you make a change, and you are going to make changes to your app, it retests itself and tells you where something is broken. If you don't do that, then every time you make a change, something somewhere else in your app breaks. You have to do a lot of manual testing, which is not a perfect solution. So you end up spending just as much on that retesting and fixing more bugs than you would have spent on the automated unit tests in the first place. This automation is part of a really important practice in the tech industry today called continuous delivery. One more thing, you need to protect the data of your users, specifically something called PII, or personally identifiable information. And that includes things like your users' names, their email addresses, phone numbers, anything that ties the data back to a specific person. There are severe penalties around the world for mistreating someone's PII. So you want to make your application safe for people to use. And all of this costs money. And there's a sweet spot of how much you want to spend to get a quality product. When softwarepreneurs contact me and want to build an app, they ask how much it costs. I usually tell them they should expect to spend at least $50K on their app. Anything less than that is kind of like paying for a house that has problems that are so bad that you can't even live in it.